Welcome to Twisted Liquid RC Boats. This episode of Twisted Liquid RC Boats is proudly brought to you by Slycat Racing. For all your RC boat needs, slycatracing.com. Good day, everybody, and welcome back to Twisted Liquid RC Boats and the continuation in our Zippkits A-Box Crackerbox build. Today, guys, on the channel, it's going to be a review style video again. I'm going to cover 3 topics that you got to get done, steps that need to be done in the manual before you can get your deck on your boat. I am ready to put the deck on now, but I want to cover these 3 steps that you got to do before you get the deck on and do it. So guys, today we're going to talk about flotation in your boat. We're going to talk about doing your fiberglassing your seam in the bottom of your boat, on your floors, your bottoms, and we're going to talk about sealing. Now, before I start this episode today, take the top off the boat and move the camera to get you guys closer, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. I am not producing this video today to upset or get anybody who builds boats out there on YouTube peeved off, disgusted. I'm not trying to tell you ways of doing things. I'm going to tell you what I researched and what I learned about using this West Systems 105-207 epoxy kit for doing sealing work. I'm going to explain to you why I do the work the way I do it, because I'm building these boats to be long-lasting, durable, strong, water-resistant boats. I am not telling you that this is the way you have to do it. I am telling you the way I've done it. And I've done it based on research and a bit of experience in using this product. Now, it's up to you as a grown man and a grown human being to use your brain and educate yourself in something like this product when you are using it. And I highly suggest getting the West Systems user manual if you buy this product, and research and educate yourself, because I'm even going to correct a mistake I made. I was a few episodes back laminating my transom, and I showed you guys the chart, and I thought it was the 207, and I went back and checked, but it was the 209 they wanted you to use. But I remembered that somewhere in this manual I read how 207 could be used for laminating. And when I go and I check on the 207 section, it tells me here that it is a product that can be used for laminating. But the 209 is the one that is recommended on the chart. So once again, do some research with the products that you're using. I never made a mistake when I laminated my transom. Using 207 is completely applicable for doing it. You can easily do it. But it's not exactly what it says in the chart. Now my point here is, guys, I'm giving you this disclaimer because I'm not doing this video to piss anyone off. I'm doing this video to tell you how I build my boats, and how I built this one, and how I built the one before. And if someone out there don't like it, that's all I can do. It's not going to affect me. So if a bunch of keyboard warriors want to come at me about this video, come on, I got 10 fingers. I'm ready to go. I'm going to explain to you how I done my work with the boat. And if you guys want to take that information and use it and put it to good use, you can. I suggest getting some experience working with the product. Learn it. Do like I've done. Educate yourself about it and with it and working with it. And when you do, you're going to find out that you're going to get some good results with it. I'm going to move you guys closer to the boat. I'm going to pull the top off. We're going to discuss flotation, fiberglassing, and sealing. So let's get this episode going. Okay guys, first thing I'm going to discuss with you today is flotation. before you put your deck on your boat, you got to get some flotation in your boat. And there's two ways you can do it. Now, as you notice in the camera, you can see I used pool noodles to do this. Another option for this would be to get pour foam. But here's my thoughts on using pour foam at the moment. This kit is only $150 Canadian to buy. A pour foam kit is going to cost me about $100 to $120 to buy. I don't mind spending a bit of money on a good epoxy kit to get good sealing on the wood on my boat. But just for flotation, pool noodles, and keeping it inexpensive is great by me. So guys, I took a trip to my local Canadian Tire, because we are living here in Canada, and I picked myself up 2 pool noodles. Cost less than $10. I came home, I took my razor knife, I measured lengths across my boat, and I cut them, and I took my time, and I wedged them in all the areas that I could get them. Now I'm filling up almost half the boat with pool noodles for flotation, and this should be adequate and more than enough to keep this boat afloat in case it does capsize in its use. It's very inexpensive doing it this way. My only suggestion is when you're putting it in, try and keep it underneath your chines and your deck. You do not want this pushing up on your deck in any way when you go to put it on. So just try and keep everything down inside the hole as you're putting it in. You can fit it in nice and tightly. I squeeze this in really easy. I slice some pieces with a slice cut to get them to fit up in the nose. And I had 6 pieces of foam in my boat that would act as great flotation. So remember, you've got 2 options, pool noodles or pour foam. Pour foam is a little more expensive route to go. It's great to use also, some builders use it. But I use pool noodles in all of my boats, and I find they're great for keeping them afloat if I do flip them over when I'm running them. Let's move on and show you how I got the fiberglassing done in the bottom of the boat. Okay guys, when you purchase the kit, they supply you with a piece of fiberglass cloth to install in the boat down the middle seam of your bottoms after you've got it put together. Now you only need to do it between bulkhead 3 and your transom. Your keel acts as the support for the 2 halves on the front of the boat forward from bulkhead number 3. It's only these 3 areas right here that you have to put a fiberglass cloth in. Now the way that I do fiberglass work, and I'm by no means a professional fiberglasser, is I've been using the West Systems 105 kit with the 207 clear special hardener. And what I done was I cut 3 sections. I cut one to fit in between here, I cut another one to fit in between here, and I cut another one to fit in between here. I laid them to the side. I used sharp scissors to do this, guys. If you use a really sharp pair of scissors, you will not get any fraying in your fiberglass cloth, and I suggest you use something like that. After I had my pieces cut and put aside, I mixed up a batch of 105 West Systems with the 207 clear hardener. I put a coat of resin on the wood where I was going to lay the cloth to. I then proceeded to take my cloth and bring it over and lay it onto the resin and tap it in with my brush to bring it down flat level and get it into the first layer of epoxy. After I knew the cloth was sitting flat in the bottom of the floor, exactly like I wanted it, I took whatever was remaining in my cup and I saturated the top coat of it to get it to adhere really well to the boat. Now guys, I don't know if you can notice, but if you use this West Systems kit when you're doing fiberglassing on your boat, it's going to give you an ultra smooth finish. There's 2 coats on that, and 2 coats has led to a smooth finish right down through these 3 sections. They're all fiberglass solid together, and it's a good, strong adhesion for these parts. Now that's the way that I done my fiberglassing. There's probably fiberglass experts out there that could teach me lessons and show me a different way and tell me a different way of doing it. But I followed the manual, I used the product, and I used it in the correct way that it said for doing this type of procedure. Now I find once you got your cloth and everything laid down, if it does start to lift up on you anywhere, I find tapping down with your brush on the cloth, straight down, like so, and not necessarily brushing in strokes, will do better for getting it to stay where you want it. Also too, when you're using this West Systems product, you can do what they call tipping off as it starts to come to its last curing place. You can easily just rub your brush over the top of it. And as you're doing that, you're smoothing the surface out. And it will cure in a really nice finish like you see. Now to me, that's a great finish for inside the model boat. Some guys mightn't agree with it, but you've got to get this fiberglassing done in these 3 sections in order to put strength in the hull and to make it stay together. You cannot use this boat, and it will tell you that in the manual, without doing this fiberglassing step. So take your time, cut your cloth with sharp scissors, mix yourself up some epoxy, spread it, lay your cloth down, put a coat of epoxy over the top of it, let it cure. Try and keep any dirt, dust, anything out of it so it looks good when it does cure. And you'll get the fiberglassing in the bottom of your boat looking just like that. Now, we're going to discuss sealing. I'll move the camera once again. And let's get to the topic that's probably going to peeve everyone off. Unfortunately. Okay guys, let's discuss the last topic in this episode I want to cover today, and that's sealing. Now sealing your wood is something that you've got to get done before you do put the deck on this boat. You've got to seal the underside of the deck, and you've got to seal all of this interior, because it's easier to do it now, have it done, and you're not going to be able to reach all those areas if you put the deck on and try and seal it after. So don't do that. Do your sealing first, then put your deck on. Now guys, once again, I'm using West Systems 105 epoxy with 207 special clear hardener. And I had to sit down last night and read through the manual. And what I'm going to say now is not meant to upset any other boat builders in any other form of social media or any other form of the internet whatsoever. It's just what it says in the manual when you're using this product. Now, there's a section in this user's manual talking about thinning epoxy, which so many guys do. And I'm going to come right out and tell you, I didn't thin no epoxy. What you guys are looking at is 2 full coats of West Systems 105 and 207. And if you read this manual, it tells you that there are epoxy-based products specifically designed to penetrate and reinforce rotted wood. Those products, basically an epoxy, thinned with solvents, do a good job of penetrating wood, but the solvents compromise the strength and the moisture barrier properties of the epoxy. West Systems epoxy can be thinned with solvents for greater penetration, but this results in similar compromises in strength and moisture resistance. Acetone and lacquer thinners have been used to thin West Systems epoxies and duplicate these penetrating epoxies with the same effectiveness. If you choose to thin the epoxy, keep in mind that the strength, especially compressive strength and moisture protection of the epoxy, are lost in proportion to the amount of solvent added. Now, after reading that to you guys out of the manual, I'm going to tell you that I'm building this boat to last about 20 years. At least till I die. And because I'm building it to last me that long, I don't want to ever see one piece of the wood on this boat rot out. Now guys, I just told you, there's 2 full coats of West Systems epoxy in front of your face. It's not thinned out. It's applied with 1 coat and left to cure. After that coat cures, you will notice that you have a rough finish to your wood if you rub your hand over it. Merely take some 120 sandpaper, smooth the roughness off, and add a 2nd coat to it, and tip that off as it comes to the end of its curing stage. Let it cure and come back to me and tell me how the finish feels when you rub your hand on it, and then tell me how good of a durable water barrier you have on your wood. Now, I've noticed guys who built boats here, and when you get back to the holes here on the transom, because of thin coats of epoxy, you can actually see black around the holes where the hardware mounts. And it's because water is already penetrating in there. Now, my explanation on why I done it this way to ye guys is because of what this manual suggests you should do, and what this manual tells you should use the product like. And I'm smart enough to use my own mind, base my own opinion, and coat my boat the way I want to. Now, I know there's builders out there that I'm absolutely driving crazy by saying this. But here's what I want you to do. Get some experience with using the product. Try it out. This is only the 2nd boat I've built. This is only the 2nd time I've coated a boat in my life. I'm not going to lie to you. But I've come to learn that I can make a smooth coat on this with just merely using nothing but a paintbrush. I'm doing it in my house. I have no extensive smell of solvents or anything because the quality of the product I'm using is that good. It doesn't even smell when I'm applying it. It's non-toxic in that form. I find West Systems 105, 207 an excellent product. And I bet you if you mixed it with other hardeners that they make, like 205, 206, 209, you're going to find it's great in certain applications. I'll also tell you that the additives you can put in with it and use it in certain situations make it an ideal product for doing bonding, filling, laminating. There's all kinds of uses for it. But what I want you to do is I want you to research it yourself. I want you to get some experience using the product yourself. And I want you to do me one favor. As a grown human being, don't listen to everything you see and hear on the internet. Before the internet, how did you get information? You sat down and you read it. You researched it and you read it and you learned it. And if you research these products, you will find out lots of information about them. And it's not necessarily what other people are doing on the internet. Now, at the end of this manual, it shows a little section called barrier coating. And it says the objective of barrier coating is to build up an epoxy coating that provides an effective moisture barrier and a smooth base for final finishing. Apply a minimum of 2 coats of West Systems epoxy for an effective moisture barrier. 3 coats if sanding is to be done. Recommended for most wooden boats. Moisture protection will increase with additional coats. Up to 6 coats or about 20 mil thickness can be used right here in the manual. Now guys, if you're building a light race boat and you want to build something that's 10 grams or an ounce or a pound lighter than the guy you're competing against, thin the epoxy out. Wipe it out with a Scott towel after you're done. Build the boat as light as you can. But I'm going to tell you, I'm building the boat for durability, strength, and maximum water resistance, moisture resistance in the wood. And I have no problem with the finish I have inside of this boat whatsoever. I'm actually going to leave it bare wood. I'm not even going to paint it. I'm going to paint the outside eventually, but inside's going to stay bare wood. So make your own mind up about using the product and use it the way that you need to use it for the boat build that you're doing. Now, I've said too much, so I'm going to shut up. I'll say it out loud. And we're going to conclude today's episode. Okay, guys. I hope after we reviewed those 3 segments in this episode, you know how I got my flotation done. You know how I got my fiberglassing done with the fiberglass supplied in the kit, with the West Systems kit. And you know how I done my sealing with the West Systems kit. I'm going to come out and say it to you again today before I leave you. I am not making this video to upset or peeve anyone off in any way. But I'm wise enough to know that I want to build a boat for strength, durability, and I'm wise enough to read the manual and see what the manual says about using this product. And I read it correctly today. I didn't make a mistake, because I read it last night to make sure I knew what I was saying before I came on here today and made this video. Now, they're telling you that you can use up to 6 coats of this on wood. And most guys will tell you that if you don't wipe that off and thin it out before you put it on, you're doing everything wrong in the world. Everything is wrong. But what I want you to realize is that you can learn something yourself. And not everything you hear on the internet can be the perfect way of doing it. Make your own opinion. I want you to make your own opinion on this product if you buy it and you use it. But learn it for yourself. Figure out whether you're building a sport boat like I'm building for durability and long-lasting time, or are you building a race boat that got to be 5 ounces less than you guys next to you. And seal your boat the way that you think you should do it. But make your own opinion, and base it on knowledge, and base it on experience for me, would you please? Because not, like I say, everything you see is perfect. Having said all of that, guys, can't thank you enough for watching Twisted Liquid RC Boats and our build of the Zippkits A-Box. After you guys see this today, I'm getting that deck on this boat, and I'm getting it finished off. I want you to all take care of yourself out there. I want you to have yourself a really good day, and I'm going to catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like and subscribe. Take care and stay safe.